Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2023-24 school year. This is Josie.
And this is Lindsay.
And do we have a joke for you? Lindsay, what's the difference between a teacher and a train?
What is the difference between a teacher and a train?
A teacher says, "Spit that gum out," and a train says, "Choo choo." Lindsay and I are here to share some really important information that you need to know going into this school year. The reason we're doing it this way is because we have such limited time. Typically, we have about a whole day as a staff to go over all the nuts and bolts, and this time we only have half a day. So we're going to go through this. Feel free to play it on in the background if you need to while you're unloading your classroom or getting things set up or anytime that you choose, and then flex your time for how long it took you to get through it. All right, so let's jump in and get started. First off, because we have so many new faces, I loved this quote from C.S. Lewis. "Friendship is born, that moment when one person says to another, 'What? You too? I thought I was the only one.'" I know as we go into this school year, we can all feel a little bit overwhelmed, especially with the new ELA curriculum, and there's new people on our staff. We even have a new admin team. So there's a lot of newness, but just remember that we are all in this together, and it's just a good time to build those connections with some new faces. This is our staffing for this year as it sits currently right now at 3:43 p.m. on August 4th. Again, we've talked about this before, how this can change very quickly when we get all the registration. Shout out to Katie for going really fast and putting through as many kids as possible. We do have 4 teachers in kindergarten at this time, 4 in first grade, 3 in second grade, 4 in third, 4 in fourth, and 3 in fifth grade. Currently, we are at full staff except for our recess monitor position. I also wanted to mention for para support, district office told us that there are not any changes happening to us here at Pioneer Peak, and we were able to hire a new paraprofessional. Her name is Rebecca Young. She's going to be working with the intensive resource program. Welcome, Rebecca. And we also have a new member for our staff. Her name is Bonnie Parrott. She is our core specialist from the district. Bonnie's position is going to be something that we work with all year. She is housed specifically only here at Pioneer Peak, and her job is to support you teachers and staff. So welcome, Bonnie. Thank you for joining our team. We're excited to grow along with you. Big rocks for us for this school year. These are aligned with what the district wants, but this is also what Lindsay and I are super passionate about.
All right, so supporting teachers and classrooms with that ELA rollout and our ELA framework differentiation. We just got the whole spiel on the new website that they have for all their resources, so I'm super excited for you guys to see that. Feel free to get on there and take a test run because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of resources on there. Revisiting and revamping our PBIS and behavior expectations, school-wide and in classrooms. For those that have been here a while, we're getting back down into the depth of that PBIS that we started quite a few years ago. Revisiting and strengthening our MTSS process. Yvonne Brooke will be our go-to on that one.
Yep. Remember, she's our MTSS coordinator, no longer instructional coach. Her wheelhouse is going to be this MTSS process.
And really focusing on that AK Reads Act, the requirements and how it's going to affect us as teachers, educators, and affect our students as well. And then teacher clarity, doing some learning walks, visiting Iditarod, and looking at some other classrooms, which will be really nice for us to get out of our site and be able to see what other teachers in the district are doing.
Yep. And along those lines of learning walks, really just giving you teachers an opportunity to learn and grow from each other. Both Lindsay and I are passionate about. We'll take over your classroom so that you can go and view others. That's something that's a huge way to build our collective efficacy within our building. This is just really fast. We're not going to go too much into this, but in case you're curious about the student achievement with the action plan for the district, you could take a look at this slide. I am sharing all these slides with you. Next up, I know that a lot of you are kind of wondering, how is this going to work with we have a principal and we have an assistant principal and we have an MTSS coordinator and we have a list of people that are really going to support you. We have created a really handy flow chart. So when you get these slides, you can click on here and pull those up. This is our flow chart that's going to answer the question, who do I talk to about this? You can go through here. I'm not going to take too much time on it. You can see Rita Allen is still our SEL teacher. She's really going to be in charge of our check in, check out. Tier 1 behaviors, those lunch bunch groups. She is the go-to for connecting students with counseling referrals and any community resources. Yvonne Brooks going to be MTSS, really focusing on that, building up our MTSS process within our building. She'll be working on schedules for tutor advisors and making sure that we have coverage to help out in the classrooms. Lindsay is going to be working side by side with me. We're going to be working a lot on just kind of figuring out how our styles align and how we can best support you teachers. So thank you for giving us a little bit of grace in the beginning. So far, I feel like, Lindsay, would you say it's going pretty well?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's going really good.
We're getting our groove.
Yeah, we are, and we're having fun while we do it. So go ahead and take a look at this list. Everything else is pretty much the same. One thing to note on here, we do have a column for teachers. There is going to be a little bit more expectation when it comes to MAP testing and progress monitoring. We'll talk a little bit about that here coming up in a second. All right, next up, the question you've all been waiting for. What is our master schedule looking like this year? Again, this is a link to our master schedule. There are some big changes when it comes to this, especially when it's talking about our recess. District office extended our recess monitor positions from 2 hours to 3 hours, which means our recess monitors are really going to be people that we can utilize in our building for things like groups and reading with kids and any sort of help that you might need. So go ahead and take a look through here. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I know that each of you wants to look at your specific grade level bands. Last year, I did kind of allow for you to set your win time. That is, I wonder, what is win time, Lindsay? What's win time?
What is win time?
What is win time? Win time is really that time that you have dedicated for your students where you're not teaching core, where you're focusing in on those really strong interventions that are going to help them make a lot of growth this year. I did have to set the win time for everybody only because we have a limited amount of support staff, and it also helps our SPED teachers really be able to include their kids in your classroom for those interventions. So go ahead and take a look at this. Feel free to email us any questions. There are some things in here like what is Enrichment Day? We're going to get to that later on here in this little video. All right, moving on to the next thing. I want to make sure that you guys have communication as much as possible without being overbearing and over communicating anything. So we have set meetings for the year. If you click on this document, you will see by month all the meetings that we have outlined. The only one that's not added on here right now is our foundations team meeting and any of the committees that you might want to join. But you will see on here that if we have a staff meeting, it is located on that month. You know, we have a staff meeting every month. And then any of our EL trainings and PLCs are on here as well. So go ahead and take this and put it in your calendar so that you never know like, oh, when's our staff meeting happening? It's all here for the whole year. We want to make it as clear as possible for you. Another thing to note about the meeting schedule is there are some trainings that are not quite solidified yet. So Lindsay is going to be sharing that with you on that document, as well as we are doing a new SMORE for our weekly communication with you so that you're up to date with all the things that are coming up here in the next couple weeks. All right, moving on to the next thing. Our specials. I am so excited to announce that you are going to have the same special on the same day every week. But Mondays is going to be a pretty exciting day. We're going to call it an enrichment day, which if you've been here for a long time, this is something that was done in the past. Our fabulous specialists, our music, PE, SEL, and art and science teachers are going to team teach 2 classes at a time and give them some really awesome opportunities to just work with each other and learn about many different things, even resources in our community. We were thinking about having people come in and really share those presentations, just giving kids really great learning experiences. Those are going to rotate every 2 weeks. As you know, it's probably hard to start a project and finish it within 45 minutes. We want to make sure that there are 2 full days that they have to finish projects and do all their learning before we switch. At the bottom of this slide, you can see that that is on the master calendar. That slide that I showed you that said master schedule, there's a tab at the bottom that says special schedule / enrichment. So Tuesday through Friday, the specials are all the same. For example, every Tuesday, you're going to have music. If you have ideas or things that you would like our specialists to focus on during those enrichment days on Mondays, please let them know. They want to provide a lot of opportunities for all kids. Those are also going to be the days that we try to schedule our life touch pictures and any of those oddball things, assemblies. We'll try to put those on a Monday so that it doesn't take away from the routine of the week. All right, library schedule. Go for it, Lindsay.
All right. So K1 will be doing just checkout. They will not have like a library class because they'll have the SEL instead. So on Mondays, so on the master schedule, there is a tab with library checkout specifically for kindergarten and first grade. When you go on to that, I did 20-minute sections for kindergarten and 15-minute sections for first grade, just so that I could get you guys all in that afternoon when Mrs. Neff is there. Teachers will be going in with students to check out books. You will need to supervise that. And you'll see that I have kindergarten all scheduled one after the other. If it doesn't work for your class to go at that time, you can switch with another teacher. It's not a big deal, as long as we keep those kindergarten times the same and the first grade times the same.
And just make sure you communicate that with us, and especially with Miss Neff, so she knows which class is coming at the right time. All right, for team time this year, we do still have our PLC time. That is from 8:55 to 9:55 in the library, all staff to start out this year. As we move on, we're probably going to have some branches off. We'll continue our SPED PLC, and I'd also like to keep going with our para PLC as well. But to add more time for you guys to be together, we are going to be having a bi-weekly team time where our fabulous specialists are going to be going in and covering your class so that you can have your own grade level team time. This is really going to be a time for us to focus on those MTSS kiddos, share interventions, do mini trainings if needed, looking at student data as a team and checking in about student growth. Yvonne is going to be attending those meetings, and Lindsay and I will attend as often as possible. So for an example, if we're on week 1 and it's Tuesday, all kindergarten teachers are going to be leaving their classrooms, and our specialists are going to be stepping in before that time that they have their first special. So if we look at the calendar, at the schedule, that is going to be around 9:30 to about 10:20. That's going to be a great time for you guys to meet as a team. I also want to allow that to be a time where you can discuss your housekeeping. We really don't want to come in and run the show. We just want to provide that opportunity for you to talk with each other. We made it consistent so that if you are with Miss Pereira, Miss Carte will always be going to Miss Pereira's classroom so that she can learn the routines that Miss Pereira does in the morning, and those kids don't have any disruption as much as possible. So that's going to be how that goes, and then we'll rotate those every 2 weeks. Did I miss anything, Lindsay? We're a little bit into this presentation, and I feel like I'm starting to ramble.
Well, and the other part of that is being able to communicate with that teacher who's covering your class, and it always being the same so that you know exactly who you need to communicate with.
Yep. Imagine it as like they're super substitutes coming in and they want to do exactly what is normally done in your classroom. We don't want to have to write sub-plans every other week for this time. It can be something where they just continue on. They're more than capable to take over your classroom and be able to just carry on with your normal plan.
And if you need an example of something that they could do, you could ask. But if it were my classroom, I'd probably do my basic facts during that time. Maybe their iReady minutes during that time as well.
Yep.
Something easy.
Yep. Or like your morning meeting. That would be a fun time for them to facilitate a question. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Moving on. Student celebrations. Lindsay has inspired me to really revamp how we do student celebrations. I know she's super passionate about that. We want to celebrate as many of our students as possible, as often as possible. This year, we are changing our Lexia and Math store to what we're calling ticket time. So Lexia and Math store, out the window. We're not doing Lexia anymore anyways. Kids can earn tickets based off of the lessons passed on iReady, both for math and for reading. Keeping it simple, if they met 2 lessons for math and 2 lessons for reading, they're going to get 4 tickets. If they only pass 1 lesson, they're only going to get 1 ticket. So pretty simple. For reflex, 3 green lights equals 1 ticket. We've also made it super simple by creating a document that you can use to print those tickets off and just write them. A really great idea is to set aside some time with students on a Friday to talk about their goals, if they've met their minutes or lessons. It's a good way for you to know kind of their growth and if they were meeting their minutes. And then you could write those tickets right then and there on Friday. We're going to be doing a Monday time just like last year, but instead of the students coming down to the front office, I'm going to be going around on a cart simply because of hallway traffic. It'll just be easier. So more information to come on ticket time, but that's how we're going to roll with it this year to celebrate some student growth. For peak passes, go ahead, Lindsay.
Once a week, Fridays, teachers will submit their peak pass winner for a trait. You will email Miss Katie, Miss Arrow, with the name and the trait that they are receiving that for. Once a month, we're still going to have that peak pass pizza with principal. So select your winners, same thing. Miss Katie will ask for them. She always asks on Thursday. She'll email you. Just remember to email back as soon as possible, or keep that email unread until you've actually done it so that you don't forget. Otherwise, she'll call you, and people will laugh. Students can earn their peak passes throughout the day, specials, recess, in class. I've even given kids passes in the hallway when I see them pick up a piece of garbage that has been sitting there forever. So be looking for those, and it'll increase their chances of getting lunch with Mrs. Schubert. You should have a place in your classroom where students can put those and then draw once a month for the peak pass pizza.
Yep. And really, this is just all about increasing our positive ratios, right, Lindsay? We want that 3 to 1. The more positives we can give kids, the more they're going to want to work for it. So we're going to be talking a little bit about this if we want to beef it up a little bit this year, make it more exciting, and just to make sure that we're all using it.
Right. And we've been doing it this way for a while, so I wouldn't mind seeing some ideas on how we could make it even better.
Yep. All right. Moving on, Math Ninja, you might see a new little logo here, but because we're using our reflex and fracs for 3rd through 5th grade, we decided to change this a little bit. Last year, all students who completed all 4 levels, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, received a Math Ninja t-shirt. However, this caused a little bit of problems when we had those fantastic 3rd graders passing all 4 levels, and then they got their t-shirt, and we kind of felt like, let's change it so that they don't get their t-shirt in 3rd grade and then have to not get one for the rest of the time that they're here at Pioneer Peak. So 3rd graders are going to earn these awesome Math Ninja stickers if they pass all 4 levels. 4th grade are going to earn Math Ninja water bottles, and our 5th graders are going to be getting those Math Ninja t-shirts. So if you have questions on this, feel free to let us know, but it's just another way to celebrate those kids and their fact fluency. Fun fact for new teachers who may not know this, fluency is actually not something that is graded on our report cards. That's something that has changed pretty recently, but we feel like it is so important to make sure that students do have their facts down and they're able to be fluent with them that we want to celebrate it. For staff celebrations, we have what we call the Boot Award, and this is an award given every month to celebrate teachers who just go above and beyond to do things for their colleagues, do things for kids, and do things for people in the community. You can nominate a colleague. All you have to do is find a nomination sheet, or you can email me. The nomination sheets are, you're usually at the front desk with Katie or back in the staff lounge, and all you have to do on there is put the staff name and kind of a little description of what they did. You also get this cool little boot keychain, and in your spare time, you can watch this awesome TED Talk by Mark Bezos that just talks about be the person that finds the shoes. If you were here last year, you watched it, and he just has a really great way of illustrating that every single time we do those little things for each other, it really makes a big impact. So again, working together to connect and do good things for kids. Recess is going to be awesome this year, isn't it, Lindsay?
Yes, it is.
It's going to be a good year for recess. I really would like to just take the time up front in the beginning of the year to set those expectations about what students can and can't do outside. I've attached right here the recess expectation slides from last year. Every day there's a different topic, and there's some other activities that you can do just to share with kids those expectations that we have outside. Last year, just so your own knowledge, our biggest office visits came from just kids using unkind words, kids not playing with each other and not really knowing how to express, like, I don't want to play with you right now, and then students getting their feelings hurt, being too physical, and then bringing things to the playground that really should have been left at home. So just things to address with your class here before we get started. Recess exiting and entering is going to be different this year because we've adjusted our recess schedule. We are going to have kids who have playground recess. They are always going to enter and exit out the front door. So make sure, this is going to be huge, that your class is super quiet as they pass the front desk. I know that this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for some classes because they're so excited to go outside to recess, but Katie does need it to be very quiet as she is still working and working with parents and other people that come into our school. So super quiet as they walk through the office. Teachers, I ask that when you pick them up, you go outside the building and pick them up from the cones that are going to be outside. So those are just the expectations for students that have playground recess. If your class has recess on the field, again, I'm going to be expecting you to walk outside to get your class to the field and then picking them up at the entrance of the field at the cone. So you can see on this little map over here, there's a star. You'll need to walk your class out of the building and all the way over to those cones before you release them. This just really helps us alleviate any of those issues coming into the building and going out. You can see at the top of this, there's a schedule for kindergarten, second, third, fourth, fifth, first, of where they are starting, and then those will rotate weekly. Okay, all right, moving on. Recess gear. This is a big change from last year. Last year, Nurse Lydia did hand out recess gear to students who did not have proper gear. Because of space and just because of the work it took to make sure that that gear was clean and ready for the next day, Nurse Lydia will no longer be giving out recess gear. Classrooms can have, and we had this at Goose Bay, a set of loaner gear that students can use. If you want it to be washed, you can talk with Lydia. She's more than happy to do that. But it's always just a good idea to keep a set of loaner gear, loaner gloves in your classroom that students can borrow. If you need gear, if you're like, I don't know what to do, come see me and Lydia and we'll get you set up. If you have students who are repeat offenders when it comes to not having their gear, you can contact parents and let them know, hey, I noticed that so-and-so doesn't have their gloves and it's been 3 days. Give them a call. That's a great opportunity for you to connect with parents and make that connection and say, how can we assist you? If it's like they don't have enough money to buy gloves, please let me know and I'm happy to reach out to that family as well. Next up is our team lead and foundations member. Previously, our foundations teams were always just kind of rotated through. One person from the grade level would have it 1 year and the next person would take it. I would like to switch that and really have our foundations team members and our team leads be a volunteer opportunity. I want someone who's going to be on this team to really want to be participating in all those PBIS and the school improvement process and really be responsible for disseminating information from us, from SPED, from support staff, and really communicating with us about the questions and the feedback from the grade level team. I am going to provide a stipend, so if you are interested in being your grade level's team lead and foundations member, please come see me. I want to compensate you for your time. Our meetings are typically once a month at about 8:30 on Wednesdays, and we really just go over a whole bunch of things that we really could do to make our school better. The other part of this is going to be, you're going to be kind of the coordinating proctor for your team during test times. If you have questions about this or you're just wanting to know more, I am looking for one team lead / foundations member from every grade level team. So come see me if you have questions. Subs and sub plans. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Make sure that you enter your absences as early as possible. You guys know how hard it is to find subs, and especially if you want a certain sub, you want to get those in as soon as possible. So if you know you have something coming up even in the spring, go ahead and put in those absences now.
Yeah. And if you're like just feeling a little icky at night and you're like, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel tomorrow, it's better to just put it in so that you're not scrambling at 6 a.m. to try to put in your absence.
Exactly. Emergency sub plans due August 30th. Make sure you update it as you need throughout the year. Again, consistency is key. Include how to log into your computer. All of these things should, another teacher partner should have access to that as well so that they could help that sub if needed. You should have your master schedule. You should be organized for the day, behavior expectations, consequences. Individual student information is needed. That might include some of your, as Nurse Lydia has asked for you guys to put that in your sub plans for your frequent flyers to the nurse's office, so that the sub knows, like, okay, this one could probably stay in the room for a little bit longer.
Yep. And just imagine that someone brand new is stepping into your classroom. What would they need to be successful and to support your class for the day? Testing this year, Yvonne Brook is still going to be our building test coordinator. You can click on this link to find the assessment calendar for this year. We're going to be thinking a lot about how we do this. Last spring, we did a week O map testing where we did map testing for a full week. We're exploring options of maybe changing that just because we want to keep some consistency within classrooms, but we really want to hear from you. So it says on this slide, please answer this on your team recording sheet, but really that just means we want to hear from you. Send us an email and say, our team would really love to do testing this way this year. So let us know. We're going to be organizing that fast because assessments are coming up quickly. Progress monitoring. Many of you know about progress monitoring. You've done the training, but this year it really is going to be something that is going to be more of an expectation for teachers to complete their progress monitoring. We do have some tutor advisors that are able to assist in this, but knowing that if the tutor advisors are doing your progress monitoring, they're probably not going to be able to assist you during that really, really impactful win time. So if you need support with progress monitoring, if you need training with it, please reach out to Yvonne, to me, to Lindsay, and we can walk you through that. I felt like when I got the hang of progress monitoring, it was such a valuable thing for me to be able to know, wow, look at this. Julie just grew like 4 words this week, and I'm so excited. And I was able to celebrate that instantly with her. It gave me a really good read on my classroom, but it is something that is a standardized tool, and it has to be done the exact way that those directions say. There's no coaching. Everyone has to do it the same. Meaning the same.
All right, for dismissal, we are going to be using Fastlane. It is actually very similar how we were doing it with the Google Sheet. You guys will get a link to get onto School Dismissal Manager, and we will go over all of that during our informational meeting on August 14th at 1. So please take the time to come to that. Also,
hold on, Lindsay. Wait, hold on. Isn't the 14th a work day?
It is a work day.
So what are they going to do if they have to come to this meeting that's going to take a half an hour?
You are more than welcome to flex your time.
That's right.
For that day.
You flex your time. So if you want to leave a half hour early or arrive a half hour late, you go for it. I know that that's a work day, and I want to respect that. We just want to get that information to you before the first day of school.
Yes. And then don't forget to talk to your students about expectations during dismissal, and as well as on the bus. Don't forget bus expectations.
Yeah, definitely bus expectations. All right, writing for next year. Lindsay's going to be working a little bit to get our writing committee started. I know last year we had a lot of really passionate. Thank you, Carol West, for giving us that little writing training. Really getting aligned, especially with our K2 handwriting. We want that common terminology and structure. Creating our own Pioneer Peak writing framework for all K5. There was a question that I know that a lot of you are wondering. District did not purchase Curriculum Associates Ready Writing. And the reason that we didn't get that for 3rd through 5th grade is, one, because it isn't aligned to the magnetic and ready reading. There were some parts of it that weren't vetted yet, and the district had said you can purchase it if you want to buy it for your site. Lindsay and I did put in an order and kind of got a quote for how much that would cost, and it was over $4,000. So I know that that's something that's going to be a little bit hard for us to navigate just with a new curriculum, but we are going to be working with you to make sure that we have all the tools and you have access to writing in the teacher toolbox for Curriculum Associates. You may have heard, Lindsay, how do I get free money?
Free money. I did send out an email, and most of you got an email from Donors Choose from Alaska Ed or Deed, talking about the Donors Choose $1,000 of free money that you can get by just putting in a project. I just put in a project. I'm hoping it gets funded. I just did it, and it was pretty easy. I will help anybody that needs help putting their project together. It is very simple, but use it. It is limited funds, so when it's all gone, it's gone. This is not guaranteed for every teacher. Please put those in as soon as possible. Really think about what you're going to need for your classrooms this year, whether it is furniture or books or flexible seating or
kidney tables. There's been so many different options.
Yes. Puzzles, games, whatever.
Yep.
Some even put snacks on their project, which is awesome.
Yep.
So the sky is almost the limit on this.
Yep. All right, we do have a little bit of a logo update. This is not official. We're not officially changing our logo yet, but there have been lots of talk just with our community members coming in and saying, man, can we update? That's the same as it was when I was here in second grade. This is a logo that I created this summer. I'd love your feedback on it. It is going to be our staff logo for the year, so there is some staff swag. The thing this year for this fall part is if you bring us the gear, I will pay for the embroidery. I'll be wearing one of these vests here coming in the next week, but the top one is what it says. You can get it logoed. I was thinking like a black vest would look really snazzy. You can get it with black thread or white thread. So get that gear to me as soon as you can so that I can get it embroidered for you. And then later on this year, we're looking at getting some staff shirts screen printed as well. All right. This year, the thing that has been on my mind all summer long is the word connection. And I feel like every day we get so many opportunities to connect with each other and to connect with our students and to connect with parents. And I really feel like that's what's going to make it or break it this year for us. Lindsay and I have spent a lot of time already just connecting with each other and like learning about each other and where do we want to be as a school. And I feel like the only way for us to get there is through this connection. So, of course, I love Brene Brown. Connection is why we are here. We are hardwired to connect with each other. It is what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives. And without it, there is suffering. So, as we go through the beginning of the school year, remember to take time to connect with each other, ask each other how you are. If you need things, reach out. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of someone who understands that they are limited. All of us humans are. So take the time to reach out to us, connect with students, connect with your family. We are so excited about this school year. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of your day.
Sayonara.